Sara, she is just like you.
There was a story of a beautiful girl called Maria. She was innocent, young, adolescent, a virgin, and she dreamt of marrying a prince and living in a beach house with a few children. However, being misled in the journey of her life, she landed up becoming a prostitute. Are you a woman who was misled or misguided, and out of your own delusion, you landed up in a brothel house? You got into the flesh trade. Mind you, you are the wife of no one. You in fact are the wife of the entire town, like a Nagar Vadu. Men just want you to support their fantasy, and in return you give them a part of you, a piece of you. They just want you to fulfill their fantasy, their desire and their dreams of having the best pleasure and the best sex of their life. They pay you their price, but it is for something very precious. Is it for love? Is it for money? Is it for a good sex life? For maintaining a lifestyle, or perhaps fulfilling a responsibility of children and a sick husband at home? Or is it that you feel that it's a better option than flipping burgers in a restaurant, or attending to sales call, or doing a 9 to 5 job? Whether by choice or by option, you are in a flesh trade. Are you a woman in the flesh trade? Today we have with us Reshi, who is a freelancer with various newspapers dealing with women in flesh trade. Reshi.
Hi Vaisha. Hi everyone.
Okay, so Reshi, could you tell us that what happens to women who are in the flesh trade, mentally and physically? What is their condition? Could you give us an insight as to what must be going on, in the life of a woman who is in a flesh trade?
Yes, Vaisha, it is very true that flesh trade women, it really causes harm to their bodies as well as their mind. Generally what happens, it is also like a rape. That which influences the women and the girls' body, mind, mentally. They are actually in a disturbed situations. Generally what happened when we talk about mentally and physically, if we consider the physical activity, when the women contract with the men, they transmit a kind of lot of infectious diseases like tuberculosis. And mentally they definitely suffer from post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety. Generally what happened, that women and girls who are into this profession, they comply to hope that eventually they will earn a lot of money, and then they can release themselves from the debt, bondages, and they can escape. But the fact is they cannot escape, and when they find that escape is really impossible, they try to take drugs. They start addicting to the alcohol so that they can numb themselves and they cannot feel the depression and the distress mindfully, as well as the body that the man is using for his fantasies and the integrity of the body. So generally what happens when they go through all these things, the mental and the physical stress developed in them. And believe me, when they are into this profession, the young girls and women, when they are suffering from HIV, that becomes the death sentence for them. That means that will be a kind of end to their lives. And it is true that in India and in many regions, maybe the 50% more than that, women who are into the flesh trade are actually suffering from HIV and AIDS.
Okay. What about countries like Netherlands, Australia and Brazil,
Right.
where the prostitution is legalized, like Germany, Russia, Netherlands, or even Brazil? What about these countries where some parts where certain state laws are such that these profession is legalized and these women prostitutes are given protection by the state?
Right. Generally, the sex industry, they targets and consumes women whose age is under the 25. Now, what happens when a country or a state give permission for this kind of profession and they want to flourish this? So we find that the almost a very major portion of the women generation are fall into it. And now a lot of times you might have heard that people argue these girls or these women are into this profession because they want to have a livelihood or a unique way of living. But definitely this is not the fact. The fact is the dominant class, the superior class, what they do, they actually force the subordinate class to get into it to fulfill their desire. Now, no form of sexual exploitation or women exploitation can lead to the liberalization, empowerment, freedom, or any kind of right citizenship to a women. So finally what happens, they start considering these women, the girls, as a commodities, and no commodity can flourish. So until and unless we start or we treat these women as a commodity, they always become a second citizenship rights. But yes, we have to stop this and we have to see that they are considered as a human being too.
Reshmi, like you said, human beings. But I've heard that in the sex industry, the pimps and the brothel owners treat these prostitutes and these women like slaves, and they do not release them as much as they are of use to them. Only when they are sick or when they are like of no use to them, they are released and finally thrown out.
Yes, it is very true. It is very easy to get into this profession, but it is very difficult to get out of it. Pimps and brothel owners, generally what they do to just to control the women, they threaten them, they use violent activities, they just treat them as a slave, they addicted to them into drugs and alcohol, so that they can have a control on them and then they can do whatever they are actually looking for. Secondly, yes, they can always come out of this profession only when they are no use to these pimps and brothel owners, and when they are either they are sick or they cannot, they are totally used up and they are no use for them to make money. But for the women and the girls who are already been into the prostitution, want to come out of it, the problem is that they have to hide their identity. If they can hide, they can secret their past, then they can live, they can survive. But unfortunately our society is not like that, so they have to go through it, and they do not, the society do not accept that. So it's very important for them to hide their identity, otherwise they cannot survive.
So Reshmi, could you please tell us that what is actually the dynamics of this sex industry where men have a power over women, and what actually happens on the inside where there is pornography or videotapes and sadistic pleasure which men derive from sexual act?
Right. Varsha, this is a belief that this is one of the oldest profession that exists. But I would say rather this is one of the oldest profession, not exactly, but the I would say the activity men start exploiting women. Now in the sex industry, what is very important is to understand first what exactly customer is required. We have the customers, or we can say the customer is like one who does this sex with the girl or the women who actually wants to do it. Some who want to share equal happiness or the pleasure with them. And third, those who doesn't want to know anything about whether the girl or the woman actually wants to go for it, or they are into this flesh trade as because they want to be, nothing they want to know, just they want to go and have a fantasies. And then there's another type of customer who wants beyond all these things. So for them, like the pornography, the tapes, and then the videos and the photographs, and they want the real girls or women to pose in front of them so they can have this kind of pleasure. And one more thing, sometimes the customers, the men, they really want to possess on these women and girls to just have a pleasure, to satisfy their body requirement at any cost. They don't care whether the girl is minor, the girl is into it, or it's just a livelihood for her. And even sometimes we find that the children, the kids are also into it, and they also get exploited in many ways. So yes, I mean a lot of inhuman is involved in it.
So no matter how people justify the prostitution business, it is always a class which is underclass, and it is always a repressed class of society. It can never be like an exposed, or it can never be a respected class of society.
Very true, definitely, yeah.
Reshmi, I've heard that worldwide prostitution is an organized crime where women are constantly brought from poor background and poor status, and brought and sold to the rich and the elite. So is it true?
Yes, I mean it is an organized crime. And now what happens that because there's a low risk and a very high profit in this profession, so people what they do, they they buy these women and girls from the poor family and the family members, and where the family even wants to sell them because they don't have livelihood, they don't have earnings. So they bring them to this profession of prostitution, and what they do, because the money is a lot into this, and a lot of higher people who are into a strong position and who are into decision making positions, they just go through them, and it's a kind of a deal where they send these girls to them. These people, the high maintenance people, they have their fantasies, they have their sexual desire with them, and then this become a kind of business for both of them. And that's why this women trafficking and the prostitution are actually replacing the professions, or the relatively more into than the arms and the drugs deals. So yes, it has become a organized crime because a lot of these things are involved in it.
Do log on to sarasheisjustlikeYou.in and send us your views, your experiences, or your advice for women who are misguided or perhaps misled by pimps or brothel owners into this profession. Do log on to sarasheisjustlikeYou.in. And thank Reshmi for sparing time and coming and sharing your views and your experience with us on Flesh Trade. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Varsha. It was my pleasure.
Whether it is by choice or by compulsion, Paulo Coelho has said in his book 11 Minutes that it is because the prostitutes exist in our society, the other women, that is the mothers, daughters, sisters and girlfriends, can remain safely in your own houses. Therefore, the Buddha has also said that these prostitutes are like the drainage pipes of our system. If they do not exist, then all the filth and the dirt would be in our homes. So I hope that as a society, we can protect this class of people and also give them their due respect. The Buddha has said that the prostitutes, or those people who are in the flesh trade, are like the drainage pipes of our society, of our homes. If they do not exist, then all the filth and the dirt would be in our houses. So I hope that we as a society can take measures to provide them with sanitation, hygiene and so forth, so that this class of society, this repressed or underclass of society, can also be looked upon with respect.
Sara, 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 she is just like you. Sara, 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 she is just like you. No more tears, no more doubt, no more pretense. Now I will walk along the path of happiness. My heart is screaming you. Sara, 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 she is just like you. And this is song of total victory. And I determine, no matter what, I'll surely win. No matter what, I'll surely win. Never give up, never give in, to reaffirm my youthful vow. Everywhere I seek Sara, 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 she is just like you. Sara, 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 she is just like you. Sara, she's just like you.